Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to the Garden Report. Celtics tie the series 102-82 without Marcus Smart. He was out with the ankle injury, as you'd imagine, bad swelling. Ime classified it yesterday as a bad ankle sprain. The swelling, the soreness, you knew it was going to be really tough to grit through after he went through Game 3 with the adrenaline. And it was disappointing not winning that game because he gave you a lot in spite of that injury. And so he's out for this one. Robert Williams active, but Derrick White was going to have to step into that point guard spot coming off a 0-point performance. And he's had a couple of them in this postseason. Enters tonight 33% from the field, 23% from three. You can say, oh, he does this, this, and that, all this other stuff beyond the box score. I was there for a while, and it's just like you get to a point where you're scoring so few points. You're just such a lack of a threat. It diminishes all the other things you do. It makes it harder to be a facilitator, harder to be a playmaker. And so he comes into this game. He knew they were going to need them. You had to imagine that he knew he was probably going to be stepping into that role. And at shootaround this morning, he basically said, I got to be aggressive. I got to be aggressive. I've been passive. I got to be aggressive. And what did we see in the opening minutes there?
We saw him being aggressive, Bobby. We saw him sort of just pick his spots, but know exactly when he needed to attack. And he wasn't shy about it. You know, it speaks to his veteran leadership, in my opinion, or who he is as a player, because he never strayed from believing that he could put something together like this, right? He may not say it. He may not, obviously a lot of people have him under a microscope in the sense of his offensive production, but I just always felt like he's the kind of guy who's just going to be to himself, in the sense of like maybe he gets too in his head sometimes when he struggles, but at the same time, he's able to find that space that he needs to be in order to focus. And I felt like everything that's going on in his life sort of helped that in a way. Game 3, I was wondering if that would translate into that game that we were waiting to see from White in this postseason. But with all the things that were going on, lack of sleep, his parents was in the building, he just had a kid. It was a bit of a distraction, or maybe something that was on his mind too much, whatever you want to call it. I think going into this one was a different approach because he was much more clear-headed. I think he knew that this was a big spot for him. Marcus wasn't 100%. The talk around, what shoot around was about him being aggressive. So I think all that played a part as well. But I also think that he wasn't overthinking this time around, and he was able to find that space that he needed to contribute.
Yeah, and could be that, could be just the on-court stuff, not having the ball as much in the situation, moving into a smaller role. Because we've really seen him struggle ever since the game he arrived, right? That Nuggets one, he just came out guns blazing, and then from that point on, he struggled to hit shots pretty much the whole way, this entire postseason. It's just not there. And he didn't shoot well in San Antonio, but he had a higher scoring ceiling, at least from the field, it felt like. So I thought the key, he goes 1 for 8 from 3 in this one. More of his shots came downhill, especially early. He scores 7 straight, all 7 of the Celtics' first 7 points. He scores 10 in that first quarter as they jump out to a double-digit lead right from the opening minutes. But defensively, if we're going to talk about the other things he does, he fits right into that unit. He's not Marcus Smart, but he's switchable, like 1 through 4, let's say, and he gets 2 quick steals in the early going, helps the Celtics get out in transition, hits Tatum on an alley-oop. So you just see how when the scoring sets a tone, everything else flows from there for him. And he just had a huge game. I think 18 points in the end, 4-14 shooting, still not the most efficient night, but 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. It's all there. And this is the kind of performance you can look at and say, all right, it's beyond the shooting.
Yeah, exactly. And we know who he is as a versatile defender. We know who he is as a playmaker. But I think you and I were in agreement that they needed someone to come up big just in scoring. And that doesn't necessarily mean that he had to score 18 points. But to go out here and score 7 straight in the first quarter, to set the tone the way he did, I thought was huge for the Celtics in the sense of, again, setting the tone, of course, and also having everyone else sort of jump in after that. Tatum started to go after that, got going. The Celtics offense as a whole wasn't stagnant, and I think he had a big part to do with that because we know who he is as a playmaker, but when he's attacking the way he is, and when you got other guys like Tatum and Brown waiting to sort of pick their spots there, and look, Tatum didn't get shot up there for a while because he didn't have to, and that was a good thing in my opinion. And then once he found his offense, the Celtics they were running.
Still a tricky conversation with White. They're going to need more, especially with Smart if he's going to be out for the foreseeable future here. Who knows with that ankle? It felt like he was going to try to give it a go here. He tested out pregame. Celtics ruled him out. And now you're just looking at getting that movement back, getting the swelling down, only a day off, and a trip to Miami here. I don't feel great about him being back for Game 5, but you do feel a little bit better having White back there. And this is the tricky conversation with the trade, and we get into it with John all the time. I'm sure we'll talk about it again on the Garden Report soon. You give up a first.
Don't bring up Romeo.
You give up Romeo.
Oh, boy.
Maybe I undersold Josh Richardson because he shot well here. He shot well in San Antonio. You can imagine him shoot well in this series.
Let me just stop you right there, though. The San Antonio Spurs he's going to be part of that deal. This is Greg Popovich. I just felt like he was going to be thrown into that deal one way or another. So if you're going to say, like, you wish the Celtics made that deal without putting him in it,
was White the right guy to go target?
For someone who, okay, at the time, right, the Celtics needed that kind of player in terms of him being a secondary playmaker, someone who could defend multiple positions, and, of course, score for you. I think the scoring part is what the Celtics fans were sort of, like, drooling over because of that one game where he
they
impressed
thought
everybody.
He'd be a better shooter playing around better players.
Right. But I just think they just thought that he would score more in general because if you look at his numbers, he doesn't scream out at you in terms of him being a great three-point shooter, or someone that you can consistently rely on. But, yeah, look, at that time, I just think that was Ime's guy. That's who they wanted to trade for. And Greg Popovich was going to say, well, I want those two first and give me one young guy and a veteran. Like, I just think that was part of the trade package. If you wish the Celtics went out and grabbed somebody else, I mean, that's a completely different conversation. But in terms of Derrick White, I just think that trade was going to happen. Those players were going to be involved in that trade.
I'm on the tightrope still. Let's see where he goes from here. He's got to make himself a reliable backup. And for tonight, with the season on the line, Celtics tie the series, and they get maybe one of the biggest nights yet from Derrick White in a Celtics uniform. Here's Robert Williams talking about how he's trying to make White comfortable in Boston. What have you kind of been saying to him, his teammates, to get him out of the funk that he's been in?
Just letting him know he can be comfortable with us. Most of all, letting him know he's welcome. I tried to do that since the day he got here. It's hard, especially in the middle of the season, coming to a team. You see guys laughing, joking, playing. You're the new guy. You know what I'm saying? So I just try to let him know, we're thankful for him. You're welcome to this brotherhood. Speak up when you see something. Don't be scared. And like I said, man, I feel like he set the tone for us defensively early in the game.
What kind of things do you have to do to make a guy feel comfortable? Is it just talking to, what goes into that?
Man, it's just reaching out, Everybody need a shoulder to lean on sometimes. So just reach out as much as possible, man. I may just ask him what he ate for breakfast every morning, little stuff like that.
Well, there you go. The simple things, the conversations, the breakfast.
Oh, man. It's like he's seeing him go through those early stages of fatherhood, and Rob has been more vocal this year. You're seeing more of his personality. I love that from Rob.
It's great. And you need to calm down. You need to get some rest. Like White and Rob as new fathers. Go to calm.com.
Get ready for Game 5 the right way, right?
/garden. Calm.com/garden. 40% off premium subscription. Sleep help, meditation, yoga, all the rest, stories. It's all there. Of course, HelloFresh. HelloFresh.com/playoff16. 16 free meals, 3 free gifts, dozens and dozens of options right to your door.
10
fresh.
10 wins.
Cooled within the package, instructions laid out, like everything's done for you when it gets there. That's all. It'll make your life easier. Both these things are going to help you. Go check them out. Go help the Garden Report. And once more, HelloFresh.com, playoff 16. We'll be back after Game 5 in Miami.
It's okay, Bob. Oh, I thought you were going to say we're not going to Miami. It's all right. Don't worry. We'll still be back here, guys, giving you that Celtics coverage that you love so much.
We'll be in the studio. Hey, we could use the break. Garden Report after Game 5.
I could hear the tone in your voice, how sad you are. It's all right. I mean, we may get Game 7, but I don't think Celtics fans want to hear that.
Garden Report after Game 5. Of course, check out our coverage, CLNSmedia.com. Celtics All Access on YouTube, and all of the Celtics pressers at CLNS Media on YouTube. Josue Pavon, Manning from TD Garden in Boston. We'll see you in a couple days.